Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sins of a Solar Empire 2 Action. I'm your host, Karaslegacy, as we continue in this best of 3 for the 4 Power 2 Balance tournament. We are in round 4. The tournament is coming to a close as the final contestants vie for position and standing. And with this best of 3, this could be potentially the final game for at least one of these teams as we push into Scrambler. In the north, we have the blue Visari Navio and the purple Advent Docet. This is Team the Bankstreet Boys. And currently up 1-0. We have the red Advent Phoenix and the pink TEC Fruitwing representing Panda. Now, an interesting note here, we do see that Fruitwing has swapped in for Storm God from the first game. This has been a pretty normal scenario for Panda. They have tended to swap out their players as the games have progressed. But we also see Phoenix has switched over to Advent in this map. So he was TEC in the first, and now he's swapped over. So curious what the thinking is there, if that complements Fruitwing's play a little bit better, or if there's something about this map, Scrambler, that he likes, that wants to bust out Advent for. I guess we'll see. Now, on Scrambler, we've seen this map several times in the tournament so far. A few things to just kind of point out. This is one of the new features of the patch recently. You can see, and actually this is a blue star, but it looks like the star bonuses are pretty much the same as what we've seen with the normal sun. We've got double the antimatter regen, and then you have your speed acceleration through the system. Always a major feature. The heroes of our journey, the true winners of the tournament, no matter who wins, because everyone knows the true winner is the Alexians. So Alexa will be captaining our forces into this fight, and we wish her good luck as she beats back the barbarians. All right, so interesting note up here. Looks like Navio is already getting some metal feed from his ally Docet. So we're already seeing that push there. Let's kind of take a look at the starts here. All right, Docet's opening up. Standard 1-1 Advent. Rapture opener. And otherwise, yeah, we're seeing a deep push south. This has been pretty common for Advents on this map. They like to kind of push into these worlds where there's a lot of creeps, use their Rapture to capture some units. And then once claim it, looks like Docet's going to continue his trek down. He's going to put straight into the heart of his opponent. We did see the Bankstreet Boys be very aggressive in the opener of the first game, so we'll see if that continues in this one. Meanwhile, Navio is also pushing from its straight south, going with that double capital opener we saw in the first game. Desolator as the second cap. Yep, it looks like just a basic double cap opener. Nothing too noticeable. We do have Jiskin on this map, which we haven't seen in a little bit. So their Colony C9 Knights will likely be utilized for some of the colonizations upcoming. On the south side, Phoenix is open up with a Rapture himself. Is doing a quick push into Tier 2 for Tempest. Otherwise, no influence yet, nothing else really to note. And then Fruitwing. Basic tech there, we have a coal opener, coal and an Aachen. So that's actually, that build is you start with Aachen early to kick you off, and then you follow up with a coal to kind of reinforce it. We don't see any trade currently. Let's take a look. So no trade on that Aachen just yet. And actually, just taking a look, he does have mobile trade port open, but Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if that's a mistake per se, but Fruitwing was hoping likely to get two trade slots from the minor faction. A few of the minor factions do give some initial trade, uh, and he was going to be able to use that with his Aachen. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The particular miners that he got do not provide trade slots, and so that point in trade is going completely to waste at this point. All right, we have an opening match here. We have the two caps versus a Rapture and basically nothing else. Yeah, Dosa will likely take one look at this force and probably want to run. Although, okay, it looks like he is going to try and do a push here and take out this asteroid with 3 siegecraft. Cobalts are returning, but they were a bit distracted by the other forces and they did not hit the siegecraft quickly enough. It looks like they will be able to snipe out Fruitwing's asteroid. Nice initial pickup from Dosit. Meanwhile, on the left side, we do see Navio is pushing deep into his enemy territory. However, he is now shown to be the villain he is, as our heroes have arrived on the scene, ready to drive him off. Okay, we do see, a very typical Visari opener with the 3 cap. Although I say that, oftentimes we see a carrier as the 3rd ship, not a Marauder. So Marauder's a bit of an odd duck for the 3rd cap opener here, but an interesting sight to see. We'll see what how the Marauder is played in this game. And yeah, the Alexians are going to make sure that this world stays theirs. So on the one hand, this pressure is going to prevent any expansion here, but on the other, it's going to get kind of pressured by the Alexians as well. So that may be both a boon and blessing to Phoenix over here. Take a look at Phoenix. Phoenix has moved into Tier 2 military with really with no real investment in military at this point. Doing a very quick move towards the Terran world is going to take a lot of damage from all of these creeps. Meanwhile, with the enemy pushing on his doorstep, I don't know if Phoenix is going to want to stay here. I think he was trying to secure this world for his ally, so his ally could take him over, but this is a tremendous amount of damage. He still has 1 siegecraft he needs to take out. He is forced to run. The Rapture should be able to escape. And yeah, he does need to move those disciples back. He needs to take this out. Okay. So he has managed to secure the Terran world. Will likely give it to his ally Fruitwing. But we'll see how that goes. However, he has pulled his forces far off track, and this has given Dosit a huge potential opportunity here. Dosit has got the asteroid right next to his homeworld. He may fortify this momentarily, and now we have a 3 cap push once again in his homeworld. And unfortunately, Phoenix has no forces whatsoever in the vicinity of this area. Checking his unity. Yep, there's no Sanctify bailout here either. Phoenix is about to take some big pain here, and he's actually pushing even deeper into the territory here. Unless we see some kind of radical shift here, I think Phoenix is going to lose his homeworld. Now that said, Navio has really left his back door empty in order to pursue this push. So his economics are not going to look as strong as they might appear offhand. But at the end of the day, if you take out an opponent's homeworld, do you really care? All right, we do see some crystal text coming in from Phoenix, and no influence. Wow, no influence whatsoever from Phoenix. That seems like a mistake to me. We are 16 minutes in the game, no influence whatsoever. I'm ready to call that a flat-out mistake. Influence is one of the most important resources in the game. While it's understandable to delay it a minute or 2 or 3, when you have some key text early on, but 16 minutes, no, you absolutely 100% should have your influence a humming. All right. Fruitwing is getting his tier 2 freebooters online. That'll be a nice big boost of forces. He has added a Mazda to the complement, and it looks like he is pushing north and will likely be able to push Docet back here. Yeah, Docet's got a smattering of Tempest. Yeah, he's focusing on. He's got a selection of Disciples and mainly Tempest, which the TEC force should be decent against, at least until their numbers grow a lot higher. So I think there's a reasonable chance here that Fruitwing might be able to take out this volcanic world, but we'll have to see. All the time he spent sieging is going to give Docet time to build up his Tempest numbers and potentially push him back. All right, the 3-cap push is now in full swing. Phoenix's homeworld trickles steadily down, and yeah, there's no answer to this. In fact, I do not know what Navio is doing with this Desolator. Is he going to try and go ahead and siege another world? He has set up a nano assembler nearby, so he's going to have a steady stream of reinforcements. And yeah, Phoenix is looking real shaky. Now he does have a Terran world, which for an Advent is a decent world because they do have techs that can actually boost. Can boost a Terran world, but I don't know if any of those are online. Yeah, we don't have inspired architecture yet, so that's the big one. Yeah, that's for Desert World. So he does not have the Terran world tech yet, which would give a nice little boost to this world, but ultimately, yeah, I think Phoenix has just accepted that he's going to lose his homeworld in this. He's going to try to reestablish his focus here. Probably will want to push and take out this volcanic here in a moment, so that he can be in a good staging position to push back once Navio kind of finishes the job, quote unquote. All right, looks like we do have some action up north. We do have the Rapture with about 27 Tempests versus the 2 Capitals here. Capitals do have Armed Patch online, and we do have 1 Radiation Bomb, which will do some work against these Tempests, but ultimately, these forces are going to have to retreat. The Tempests are not going to kill the TEC Capitals quickly, but they certainly will push them back eventually. Now, Fruitwing is taking the opportunity to push aggressively into Tier 3. We'll see if he goes for pirate forces or for something else. We do see War Chest getting online, which is always an excellent tech early on to give you some much boosted econ. Mars is doing some work here, but again, it's just not going to be able to deal with this many Tempests without some kind of secondary force. Now, we do have the freebooters online, and it looks like they may be, yep, they are moving to rejoin. And with all 3 Capitals and the freebooters, this suddenly becomes a different ballgame. That said, this Mazda might need to get out of here. Not saying it has to retreat in full, but it probably wants to at least get back to its buddies. Again, 37 Tempests can do some damage if they're given some time. Now, Docet is rapidly building up a large force of Tempest and just maintaining his 1 Rapture, so he's focusing his money purely into Tempest production. Now, that's going to serve him well early on, but it might start to get outscaled by some of the TEC forces here as they go. All right, this Mazda is under some threat, but the rogues here are going to provide anti-missile defense, and even with that, the Mazda is a tanky boy. He's got his armor patch going. They're likely going to get to crippled, but this Mazda will make it out, and it will survive this. Now, this is an important note. While Phoenix has been rushing to his pirate tech, he has foregone the repair droids tech, which is one of the key healing techs for the TEC. So that Mazda is likely going to be out of the fight, at least for a good while. It's not going to have much in the way of healing to help it out probably the next 5 minutes or so. On the left side, we do see Navio has completed the siege of the Desert World taking out the home world here. Phoenix is now kind of, and okay, we're kind of seeing a strategy that we saw from Phoenix in the first game. Phoenix says, okay, you've taken my home world. I get it. It was a nice world, but it's not like the only world. So I'm going to start buffing up with siege equipment, and I'm going to start putting pressure on your territories. Okay, now, do you see, it's just a little scout there. Yeah, this Mazda, it's going to heal up in a little bit, but it's going to be out of the fight for a while. Okay, we do see a retrofit bay finally being built, but no tech to support it. So, again, this Mazda is going to be out of commission for quite a while. All right, Docet has taken a commanding position over this volcanic world. He should be able to siege it back out and refortify. Phoenix has a decently solid force of Tempest himself, but it's not equal to the number of Docet, and I don't think they're going to be able to push this position, not immediately. That may give Docet enough time to siege this, although that's debatable. It's still got 1,000 health, and there's not a lot of siege equipment here. I think it is, in fact, just the Rapture. So, Fruitwing might be able to hold on to this for a bit. Again, just checking the... we do once again have a recall for Docet, but no Sanctify, nothing else. All right, moving over, we see Navio has kind of completed his cleansing of Phoenix's back corner and is now pushing over to Fruitwing as well. We still have the key triple cap here, 330 supply with just a buildup of skirmishers, basically just kind of augmenting the fleet. But realistically, these 3 caps are the stars of the show. They're going to apply all the pressure, take out most of the defenses, just, you know, wreck a bunch of havoc. Now, ultimately, it looks like, yeah, I mean, Fruitwing and Docet are in a little bit of back and forth here. They both have forces that are starting to play with each other, but at the end of the day, Docet's fleet supply is starting to take a commanding lead. The Bankstreet boys have a far better eco at this point, still maintaining both of their key homeworlds. And let's not forget that we do see from over here, we do have Navio's ability to take a second homeworld if he wants to commit some forces in the back pocket to do that. But it looks like he's comfortable just kind of continuing to push his forces. We do see him starting to build up with the Aluxians. A little bit of production. You see some metal extractors starting to come online. And yeah, nothing in the way of planet items. Pretty lean, pretty mean force that he's playing with. Now, Phoenix does have a impressive number of Tempests. He's got about 50. That's a solid force. It can definitely do some damage, but they're unlikely to do serious threat to the Visari capital ships. Now that said, oftentimes with the triple threat, you have a carrier to kind of help heal up against all the Tempest damage. While the Marauder can certainly help with that, without the carrier healing, these capitals are not as tanky as they would appear offhand. All right, looks like Fruitwing has finally gotten a Mazda down here in play. Oh, this is his second Mazda. Just got this one online. No radiation bomb, and only level 1. So these skirmishers will be able to do some work against this thing, but looks like they're not even going to need to. They're just going to rely on letting their capital ships just siege the world down and then move on. Okay, now interesting. It looks like Navio is going to pull back in this position. Okay, it makes sense here. He's getting hit by forces on a couple of different fronts here. We can see Fruitwing has started to build up those pirate bases. Blackburst is coming online. And it looks like the choice may be Javelus for the mid-game composition. We don't have human doctrination yet. That's always a great tech for primacy. Always sad to not see it taken, but obviously there is a lot of action going on and a lot of back and forth. All right, looks like Phoenix has had a chance to kind of link up with these forces here. All right, and Navio is going for the throat. Forces are moving now directly onto the home system. Again, this Marza does not have much it's going to be able to do. But is Navio going to stay and fight, or is he just going to run through this? Now, 2 Marza always have to be respected. The amount of stun they can pull off is quite large, and so you can never be too comfortable. You always have to make sure that your capital ships are staying in good health and pull them back when you need to. But that said, this is a pretty meager force from Fruit Wing. The 2 capitals plus the 20 skirmishers should be more than enough to clean up most of this. I'm curious. We don't have any pirates in this game, so nothing to worry about there. And yep, Navio is just going to start slowly cleaning this out. Okay, and now the rescue. We have Phoenix coming in with a large contingent of Tempest, forcing Navio to pull back. So Navio is going to pull back, at least for the moment. But all the time he's buying right here is working in his favor. He still has taken over the back pocket. He still has Phoenix. It looks like Phoenix again is... We've seen this a couple times for Phoenix. He's just slipping in that missionary vessel. He's like, that's my planet. You guys can rent it, but you can't own it. But that said, time right now is working in the Bankstreet Boys' favor. We see Docet. It looks like Docet may have done a recall just recently. Let's take a look at that. Missed that. Yeah, I think we just saw a recall here. We do have the level 6 Rapture now online. Guardians and, again, principally Tempest. Docet has a very solid force at this point. And at this point, he's just going to probably just re-push to the south. Maybe he decides to backfill some of these worlds, but I think he's just going to start re-pushing south, rejoin his ally. Yeah, the Bankstreet Boys have a solid economic advantage right now. We also see... now, Navio has been kind of light on the techs. So that's one thing to note. And the fleet supply is not the most impressive. So... While Navio has been focusing a lot on beating back these forces and taking worlds, it's not the strongest move towards fleet supply, and so that could come to bite him here in a bit, but it's going to take some time before he can get punished for this. Now, we do see the egg has gone to crippled. The Marza has stunned it, and it is going to work on it. There is not a lot of forces here. There are a few pirate corsairs plugging it with missiles, but it looks like they're not targeting it, and it should get out, it looks like. Yeah, Navio is going to be able to pull back from this, but he is going to pull back into a heck of a lot of damage. All right, we do see the bounce back maneuver utilized by Navio here, or it looks like he thought about it, but he has pulled out of the phase jump and is now trying to run his forces. This is a lot of Tempest, and they are whacking away, but now they're switching targets, and that could be a real problem. They were focusing on the Desolator, almost had it taken to half health. They've re-moved to the egg, and they're kind of splitting forces right now, and this might be a problem. Okay, they are combining. They put the Desolator. Okay, the Desolator is down. They're now going after the egg. The egg is down. Navio's lost both capital ships in the blink of an eye, and with that, he does have a new carrier online and a smattering of skirmishers, but otherwise is basically neutralized. And suddenly, we see the glimmers of hope, and the Aluxian heroes are taking the advantage, and it looks like they're also pushing on Navio's ice world as well. And suddenly, in short order, as Phoenix regains his homeworld, has crushed Navia's fleet, And Navio is starting to lose a few worlds to the Alexians. It's a slight shift in the momentum here. Is this the opportunity Panda needs to get back in this game? Docet, though, has something to say about that. Docet has not been idle, building up a very large fleet supply, about 900, mostly Tempest, but 3 Raptures, and now, of course, the Guardians. That was the key missing thing from earlier. That tankiness is now online and will be a welcome hit. Welcome help as he works against the TEC forces. We do see exotic fineries are coming online, and just continuing his tier 2 military tech. We do see him get a frontier colony unlocked, probably to quickly take some of these worlds and refortify them, preventing the enemy from taking them back as easily. That's always a good play when you're in these kind of very, very tight, close-knit back-and-forth battles. Now, Phoenix just regained his previous homeworld. He hasn't really had a lot of time with it to get it refortified. So losing this Terran world could be a big hit, but it looks like Docet is not going to commit. Okay, I think he might have saw something that he considered pulling back, but I think he's rightly realized that there's not too much to deal with here, and there is a nice juicy Terran world for him to gobble on. All right, we do see, it looks like Phoenix is going to try and engage this, and we do have help from Fruitwing, his ally, so this is going to be an interesting fight. We'll be curious to see if Docet decides to actually take this fight or if he's going to pull back. Now remember, Docet has the Rapture, and we're going to slow things down a bit as we see the level 6 sharking around. Are we going to see the Malice pulled here? Now, he might pull up the Malice, but his forces are lagging a bit behind. It's a little less Malice damage to take. All right. He's in range. He's got the Malice. Will he activate? Docet has a very large force of Tempest here. He also has a decent amount of Disciples as well. But Phoenix has a comparable fleet supply. It's really going to come down to this Malice. This Malice will be a huge potential swing point if he can land a good hit. But it looks like he's choosing not to commit the Malice. He just can't get enough ships in its radius to warrant it, at least not yet. So he's biding his time. He's letting his Rapture soak all the damage while his Tempest are starting to whittle down the enemy forces. And it looks like Docet may be pulling out of here as forces continue to stream in from Phoenix. Fleet supplies wise, now Docet has comparable fleet supplies to both of these enemies. So this is a doable fight. But I think Docet has decided that it's just a little too hot right now. Especially when you're dealing with an enemy world that could always bring in some defenses and reinforcements mid-fight. It's always a risk you don't want to take when you can avoid it. And so I think has wisely decided to pull back. Now on the left side, it looks like Navio has lost this asteroid world, and with it the production factory that was giving him kind of his key forces and to replenish the south. So with that gone, Navio's kind of lost his edge and his foothold in the south here, and is going to have to kind of lick his wounds and reestablish himself. And we can see that has happened a bit. The backyard for Navio has been filled. He's got these nice volcanic worlds online. We can see nothing crazy in the Alexians here, kind of skimping on the monies there. We do see a decent amount of production, and he's starting to build up some extractors. So starting to see some more economics here from Navio. All right, another big potential fight. All right, this time Malice has been activated. Malice is online. It has been activated. And these forces are going to work. We have 84 Tempests from Phoenix. We have 69 Tempests from Docet. Docet has 3 Raptures online, but don't forget the TEC capital ships. I think Docet is going to have to pull back here. He got his Malice off. He was able to do some initial damage, but this is a lot of Tempest. And in these kind of close battles, whoever has the higher number usually wins, and often wins big. This is not a scenario where both sides kind of come out even. If you are not very careful, one side can take kind of a definitive lead here. So it looks like, yeah, Docet is deciding to pull back. That said, there is a lot. The level 6 is under assault. The Marses are beginning their stun. He is taking heavy damage here. We're already at half health. We're in the shield burst. We have 30 seconds to the shield burst. This ship is taking way too much damage. There is no way the shield burst is going to get here in time. Can it? Oh, there's the second stun from the second Mazda, and I think that is all she wrote. I don't think this Rapture is going to have enough time to replenish, and that is a heartbreaking loss from Docet. Docet was really relying on that level 6 Rapture to help turn some of these key fights. Huge loss for Docet. Huge win for Panda. So where does that put us? Looks like we see... Alright. We do see... okay, it looks like Fruitwing is going to push with his forces. He does have to be careful, though. I mean, at the end of the day, chasing Tempest like this can be a concern point. Now, he does have Corsairs to kind of tank a lot of this damage. But at the end of the day, Tempest and Raptures that can... Yep, and here it comes. The Raptures are starting to dominate the Pirate Corsairs. And suddenly, the Armored Corsairs are working for the other guy. And with that, that gives a chance to turn the tables. The Tempest numbers are close. There's still 3 healthy Raptures. And now, the Pirate Corsairs are working against Phoenix. Still, this is a pretty tight fight, though. Now, that said, this is Docet's world, so Docet might be able to reinforce with some defensive structures here. Alright, Docet continues, and it looks like Docet is going to continue to wail on the Tempest numbers. But that said, his Raptures are still taking a huge beating here, and he has to be so terribly careful. With 2 Marsdas sharking in this battle, no capital is safe. You have to get your capitals out. And this Rapture is taking tremendous amounts of damage. These Tempests are doing real work, and with that, Docet loses another capital ship. What is happening to Docet here, who was looking in such a commanding position earlier? It still has 950 fleet supply, but is losing capitals like I lose Cobalts. And the pressure continues to mount here. Docet does have Guardians to help tank a lot of this damage, and with that, his Tempest numbers are superior to Phoenix's, but Phoenix is bringing in a weapon of his own. He has finally managed to get his own Rapture to level 6, and again, 1 Malice combined with all his other Tempest forces could be all he needs to kind of clean house and reset Docet's fleet supply. That said, I think this has been a mistake. Sloppy control from Phoenix. He really needs to keep these tight with his Raptures. No reason to be doing this. This is just he's gonna lose a bunch of Tempest here for very little gain, which is gonna weaken his ultimate Malice when it comes into play. But all right, his force is reconnected. The Malice is available. Will we see it active? Radiation Bomb has come out. I am quite surprised we did not see the Malice there. That was a lot. Oh, there it is. The Malice is out. Of course, they're starting to hit. The Tempests are going to work. But looks like the Tempests are going to try to jump out of here. Docet's numbers are rapidly pulling back. And yeah, I think Phoenix was just a little slow in the draw with that Malice. He had the position. He had it well in hand. He could have activated it probably at least 5 seconds earlier, and 5 more seconds under the Malice might have made a tremendous difference. Yeah, that said, looking it over, it looks like the vast majority of Docet's fleet did survive the Malice, and with shield bursts will shortly come online, it will replenish those shields. So Docet is doing okay, considering that big Rapture hit. I'm gonna slow things down just a bit here, so we can kind of take a look at the rest of the map, see where things are standing. Just taking a quick look at Navio. Navio's at 350 supply, building up forces. Just has a smattering of forces. So Navio is kind of out of the battles for the moment. So it looks like all the action is focused here. Mars has gotten to level 4. And we do see, again, Docet is taking a lot of hits from again, both the Aluxians in this case and from Phoenix. All right, we do see Docet's flipping the script. We're going to go back to normal speed here. Looks like Docet is once again pushing south, trying to either do some pressure or maybe just buy time, doing a little bounce back maneuver. We'll have to see how it goes. Now, Phoenix is hot in his tail. And again, when you're at when you're at 70 plus Tempest numbers, suddenly capital ships no longer look as strong as they once did. Yeah, it looks like, okay. Yeah, it looks like Docet is just kind of playing back and forth, buying time, splitting up his enemies' fleets as they're kind of struggling to stay in sync as the two fleets are trying to chase after. So good maneuver here by Docet, doing some good work here, trying to buy some time. But at the end of the day, the fleet supplies from his enemies are starting to increase. Phoenix does have a level 6 Raptor, and Docet does not. And that is going to make a tremendous difference. In fact, as we see Docet push back in here, how close is the Malice? We have 45 seconds on the Malice. And let's see what Docet's force is going to do. The level 6 for Phoenix is pretty wounded, but its shields are near fully restored. Yeah, Docet looks like he might be trying to snipe the Rapture, but that's not going to work. This Rapture still has plenty of shields. And then I say that. It looks like the Rapture may be deciding to turn and actually engage this fight. This might have been a mistake for Phoenix. Now Phoenix does not have Guardians. He has no Guardians in the area. He does have Malice, but he is just kind of sticking around, and his forces are taking a lot of damage. Now he does have a friendly Hashinko here helping him heal. And this Hashinko will heal a lot of Tempest damage. Alright, looks like it was enough. Combined with the rest of the enemy forces, now Docet decides to pull back. Or, more precisely, push forward. Docet's pushing deeper into Phoenix's quote-unquote homeworld at this point, because again, Phoenix still does not have a homeworld fully secured here. And it looks like Phoenix is continuing to push this. Now again, this Rapture is quite wounded. It's going to take a lot of damage on the outskirts here. Now, if the TEC Marsa can get in play here and do a stun, they might be able to snipe this. Otherwise, this vessel should get out. The shield burst will come online, and yeah, the Rapture is going to escape. But Phoenix is going to continue to put pressure here. That said, I would still argue pressure is on the Bankstreet boys' side. They have more planets. This is giving them time to let Navio kind of replenish after the beating he took earlier. Their core homeworld infrastructure has remained intact throughout the game. They've never had to reset it, and so all that stuff is still built and ready for them. So at the end of the day, the Bankstreet boys, I think, are perfectly fine with this going the distance. Of course, I say that, and as soon as I pull back, it looks like we just saw a level 4 Rapture get sniped by the Tempest push here. So, while Docet is finding ways to buy time, he is paying for it in the blood of his Raptures. Docet still has 3 Raptures, though. He's gotten up to 80 Tempest vessels. Decent production. Where is that production set out? So, still has most of his production in his backyard, in his core area. We are seeing doubles on the Aluxian and Jiskun. Just still have the Frontier uplink that he could be potentially using here in the near future. We do see the building of a plasma nova generator. I feel like this is something that Advent players just for some reason, just refuse to build. I've never, as a TC main myself, I don't understand it. I think Plasma Nova seems amazing, but a lot of admins seem to forego it or really delay its production. But with so many Tempests on the board, being able to do a crap ton of area damage to the enemy Tempest is certainly worth the price. All right, where do we stand as the dust seems to have settled, at least for the moment? Docet at 580 fleet supply, 3 Raptures, Guardians, and Tempest primarily. We do have tier 3 tech, but not a lot researching. Looks like the focus is pretty much all in fleet supply at this moment. His ally Navio, 520 fleet supply. We do have 3 capital ships back online. Mostly still skirmishers in play. And the skirmishers in high enough numbers can actually do decently well against Tempest if they are supported with other vessels and other fleets. Now, by themselves, the skirmishers are too easily out-microed by the Tempest. But if the Tempest are struggling to deal with other ships, or they're forced to micro against other ships, and they're not paying as much attention to the skirmishers can do decent damage. We do see Navio's getting his optimized phase drive tech. That's a key tech in these situations, allowing him to jump into these systems and especially out of them a lot faster. Phoenix has got himself up to 700 fleet supply with just the 1 Rapture, which again is still at level 6. And then mostly Tempest, although we do see an uptick in Disciples now. So I don't know if that's going to be a true shift or if that's just a steady little buildup as resources allow. And then Fruit Wings at 660 fleet supply. Still has that Aachen from earlier. Now with and again the double Mazda, which we've already seen some great work out of. Has his freebooters. We do not, I believe, have any pirate bays. Yes, any pirate bays he might have had earlier been taken out. As his level 3 techs. He does finally have human indoctrination. That's an excellent tech to have. But I don't believe he has it active. And it looks like he might need it as Docet rains down fire with this large Tempest Swarm. Okay. Now, what's the plan from Docet? Docet does not have any capital ships here. He has no siege, so he's going to be able to maybe do some orbital damage here, but little else. And Tempest, as amazing as they are really bad against structures. They do not damage structures very quickly at all. So I don't know if Docet is going to get much done here, other than again maybe continuing to delay and force Fruit Wing to kind of stay in this position. Now, our Luxian heroes have not been idle, and they are continuing to put pressure into the center here, including colonizing this volcanic world over here, providing a small buffer against which looks like Phoenix is contemplating a push, but with the arrival of this juicy new Devastator, has decided to switch course and may take a crack at it. Now, he does have, 70 Tempest? They can do some good damage here, but I was going to say they probably won't do very good damage against Power Surge, but Power Surge is actually not online, so this Devastator is not as tanky as it might first appear. Maybe the Tempest can do some work here. We now start to see, we can see Navio does have a level 6 carrier finally online. It's got the ability to replicate forces, which can be actually pretty useful for siegecraft. Being able to replicate those and provide a big influx of siege power at a moment's notice can kind of trip players up and hit them faster than they might think otherwise. Otherwise, it's probably not going to do too much to help against this. All right, it does look like Phoenix is following this Devastator to its home and bringing a large contingent of Disciples and Tempest along for the ride. Yeah, Navio here, this force is just for skirmishing, is just for taking out plants. It's going to have to run. Now, let's take a look Yeah, Navia does not have any phase resonance, so he does not have any enhanced speed, but his with optimized phase drops, he will be able to phase jump out of these systems faster than the Advent can follow. That said, Tempests are pretty quick, and they're already starting to slowly chase down this Devastator. Devastator is now at level 4, though, and I think if worse comes to worse, he could always throw in Power Surge, and with Power Surge, they're simply just not going to be able to do enough damage to really damage it. So, that said, I think Navio is forgetting something here. He's left his siege groups behind, and a secondary contingent of Tempests are starting to go to work on it. Yeah, he's likely going to lose these Destructors here in a moment. Meanwhile, oh, sorry about that. All right, we do see, it looks like Docet has his 2 Raptors online. And anything on the influence side that we're talking about? No, influence is just kind of steadily tricking away. Nothing too interesting to write home about. Maintaining, yeah, it's just a Tempest focus, but we do see a Radiance now in the queue, so that'll come online soon. No culture, yeah, nothing fancy to write home about there. And other than this one Plasma Nova generator that I'm finally happy to see some Advent take, yeah, looks like pretty normal stock standard stuff. All right, Navia is now in retreat from these Tempest forces, so it's going to come down to the speed of the Tempest versus the phase drive jump speed of the Visari. Now the Visari looks like they've lost all of their Destructors, which is not surprising. But with 3 carriers and, of course, now the carrier healing, ideally these really should not do too much. Might want to activate Repair Cloud, though. Start getting that regen happening. I mean, again, this is 80 Tempest. They can do some work. Dosip is finally pushing into tier 3 tech, getting the surge capacitors for faster shield burst, which is always a nice defensive tech at this point in the game. But it looks like it will not matter, as the Bankstreet boys have finally turned it around. Their aggressive focus rush was able to do the damage this time, and while Phoenix tried to kind of turn the tables like he did in game 1, at the end of the day, the damage was too great, and they were never able to recover. So good game. This puts the series at 1-1, which means we're going into Game 3. So tune in again as we watch Game 3 to see who wins out in this series. Again, I'm Karaslegacy. Thank you very much for watching.